Good afternoon everybody, Calm Biker here. Just taking the strawberry out for a quick spin, quick shakedown ride. Been doing a bit more of my servicing on it. Doing a full service, but I've spread it out over quite a while. Mainly because it takes a long time, and when you got weather like this, I mean this is the 2nd of September now, and it's about 25 degrees. So I don't want to be holed up in a garage or out on the driveway spannering under the midday sun. I'd rather be out riding the thing. So I've been doing the spark plug type bits and pieces yesterday and today, changing the brake fluid for some lovely clear stuff to get rid of the horrible brown stuff. I just dropped that off at the tip, the old stuff, to be disposed of correctly. So I'm just off to fill up before I go back and pick up Mrs. C and we go out somewhere for a nice cuppa. I did a video, well 2 or 3 videos back in real time, but as you know it's, on this video it's the 2nd of September, so who knows how long it'll be. We'll be able to see by when I upload it. So in real time how many videos ago it'll be, but I did a video where I was talking about servicing and asking, do people do all of the jobs? Do the mechanics actually go about doing every last little job on the service schedule? And the comments seem to suggest that the answer is no, because there's not enough time to do it. And I just wanted to say I don't blame the mechanics for that in the case of dealerships. I mean, if it's a mechanic at who is like an independent mechanic, that's a different thing, and really they should be letting people know what they will and won't do and the reasoning and the costs if they want everything. But at a dealership I definitely wouldn't blame the mechanic or service technician, whatever they call them, because they won't be given enough time. They'll be pushed to the dealer to do it in that certain amount of time. And I have to say, from working on this bike, I can understand why, because the time taken to do anything on this bike is horrendous. I wanted to do the coolant yesterday. That was another job I did do yesterday. And just to get to the radiator cap, which is at the front of the bike, you can see it. You can actually touch it without removing anything. But they've decided to put a little piece of plastic over the top, so you can't actually get a finger each side to unscrew it. And you certainly couldn't get anything in there to refill the radiator. So just to do that, I had to spend about an hour. To do it properly, I would have had to take the crash bars off the bike first, then take the fairings off, because the fairings come off by sliding forwards once you've taken out some bolts, or popped out some little poppy things, unhooked some hook and loop tape. There's quite a few bits and pieces holding them there to stop them rattling about. And then they slide off forwards to come off 4 or 5 clips at the front. Only because the crash bars stop you moving the things forward, you're supposed to take the crash bars off. Now I managed to wangle it a bit by dismantling the fairings. There's some inner panels and the painted outer panels on the fairings. So I had to actually take all of the fairings apart, take all the inner panels off, which I could do by reaching in, and taking off these little panels at the top, which are quite easy to take off actually. And once I got all that stuff wangled out, then I could take the fairings apart, and then I could just squeeze them past them bars there, or them bars there in fact. But faffing about with that took a good probably 45 minutes just so I could undo the radiator cap, and then taking the fluid out, the old coolant, was a nice one to take off at the bottom of the engine on the side, nice little screw to take out to drain that out, and then another one on the front of the engine that you have to take the belly pan off if you don't want the belly pan just to fill up a coolant, so that's a pain. Then for the spark plugs, it's every piece of fairing off, which is a pain in itself, but you know, I was halfway there doing the coolant. Then the tank off, which you expect to get to the spark plugs. But then it's disconnecting lots and lots of cabling. There's about 8 different cables to disconnect, a relay to take out, a little computer to take out, disconnect a load of other clips, pull out more cabling, kind of reroute some cabling so it's not fouling the plastic tray, pull out a plastic tray, and then you've got another load of pieces to take off before you can actually even get to the little doodads that connect to the spark plugs that, for the life of me, I can't think of the name of. HT lead stuff, and them long things that break easy. I can't remember what they call them, rods. And it's for me as an amateur with a service manual and a Haynes book. I actually use both because the service manual is so bad in places that it's barely possible to follow it, and then the Haynes manual is not so good either in certain places because it's more generic for several different bikes, so that's not easy to follow either. So I'm sure that the proper people with all the training will be able to do it much quicker than I can, but just to get through all of that, I spent about, with the coolant, the brake fluid, spark pluggies and whatnot yesterday, I spent about 7 hours, and then this morning another few hours doing it all, finishing off the job and putting it all back together. And as I say, I've still not done the the air filter yet. That's my last job to do, is the air filter, and then I'm finally finished. But you don't have to take the tank off on this one. You actually have to take the battery out. Who would have known? But it's interesting. I was talking to Tosh, I was at the end of my tether and I just sent him, at the point where I was giving up, I sent him a photo of what was left of the bike after I'd taken everything off, and said, I think I've bitten off more than I can chew. But it's almost got me to the point where, as much as I like this bike, I don't want to have to go through all that again. I priced it up what it would cost for this service, and it was well over £500, which is why I'd have got it myself. And I don't think I'd want to spend £500 on it. I mean, the bike only cost about £4 grand. So why the heck I would spend £500 every 2 years on a service is beyond me. So I just kind of don't want to do it again. So I'm almost at the point of saying, in a year's time, or 16,000 miles time anyway. Well, it's actually supposed to be 12 for the spark plugs, but I have a feeling they'll last much longer than that. 16,000 is for some other bits. But I have a feeling that in 2 years' time, or 16,000 miles, or whatever it might be, I might just sell the thing. It might be easier to trade it in against another bike, rather than skinning knuckles again on servicing it. I'm not a mechanic. I am just a potterer. So he's actually stopped. Almost behind the line. Yeah, I am just a potterer, so I like riding them more than I like servicing them. I enjoy both. Anyway, that's enough waffle, isn't it? Off and get me petrol now. I've got very little petrol left because I've been running it down the last few days. So I knew I was going to get the tank off and I didn't want it to be all heavy. So thanks for listening to my inane drivel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Ride safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon.